Wow. Welcome to Target. I'm your host, Atlas Aultman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted. All right, welcome back to Targeted. Today, I have in the studio, in the local studio, I might add, Jason Schaefer. Jason Schaefer and I worked together at Luke Air Force Base, and he did a couple amazing things that you might have seen on social media because he actually embraced it. He did talks with the chiefs, and I'm going to give him the mic in a minute, but I want to give him some accolades because as leaders go, as management goes, as a team goes, I saw a lot of excellence come out of this man, and I had to bring him in to give him to my audience. And I'm not paying him anything, but I probably should. But with no further ado, Jason, how would you describe yourself?
Jeez, that's the first question. How do I describe myself? Thanks a lot for going.
Who are you?
Thanks a lot for going right at me. If I had to describe myself today, I'm working on being a better father, a better husband, a better person. I'm trying to figure out who I am. I've wore a uniform for 25 years, and I never thought I was going to wear a uniform for 25 years, and I embraced it. I loved service. I loved just being there for other men and women. And now I'm trying to figure out what that is, That's a tough question to start it out. Like, who I know,
it's ba-boom.
Ba-boom, thank you. I knew I liked you. Backtrack a little bit. I really liked when we met. Real person. I thought it was pretty cool, like some of the books that you and Mullinex Rev like embraced, and it was like, oh, I could get with these guys just by books they read or talked about. Adam Brown speak, that was an awesome. I'm glad I got that book. Yeah, so that's all, man. I don't know. We're gonna probably go farther, but that's all I got on that question.
For sure. No, I find the reason why I started off. I usually started off that way, but for us when we're transitioning out of being in a military uniform where we're given a position to do, and then we do that one really well, you know, and you've done that for how many years? 28?
25 years.
25 years.
Yeah.
So for 25 years, you were like, I'm going to ace this position. Yeah. And then we get out and we have our own accord. It's like, what are we going to do with this time? And we talked about it a little bit before the show, but for the longest time, I identified as an airman. And then I no longer have to, if that makes any sense. And I still do, but it's just a different identification now.
I was on this retreat this weekend, men's retreat for the Mavericks, this group I'm joining. And I get called chief a lot. And they're like, chief. And I'm like, man, it feels great. But then it's like, do you want to be known by something else? And then, the other part about that question's hard is that I sacrificed my family to be the best I could be.
Right.
The best I could be for the men and women I served alongside. I don't know if I want to sacrifice them anymore. And so do I want to go be the best at something else? Well, internal drive and motivation says, yes, I'm going to go be the best at something. But man, I don't want to sacrifice that anymore. So how do I find that balance? I'm starting football coaching today.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm going to be freaking good at that. These kids have no clue what's about to happen. What age groups? 7th and 8th grade.
Oh, heck yeah.
So they're about to start off with some wind sprints, and they're just going to see. We'll see where we go from there. But that's the internal dichotomy, I think, of like, you work so hard for so long, and you give so much. How do you turn that like light bulb off, or how do you turn that light switch off? And I don't want to turn that off, but I want to slow it down a little bit, so. Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get the midnight phone calls to answer questions anymore. So.
Jeez.
So I congratulate you on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you'll get more time with your family and driving your kids to school or going to their events. Yeah. It means much more whenever you missed them for decades. So I applaud you for that.
Yeah.
I applaud you for that. Okay. While you were trying to be the best person that you could be for our country, you picked up a lot of unique and valuable skills. So throughout your time, can you tell us something that you picked up, maybe a quote or something that you live by, like a mantra that you could give to those that are coming up behind us?
Man, I have so many. I think, I'll say a couple and then I'll go in depth into them. I think one that I love is, you don't get ready, you stay ready. And I really believed in that mantra. Like I want to stay ready. There was always this mechanism in the back of my mind that I wasn't good enough or I wasn't going to be ready for something. Random story. I wanted to be a Phoenix Raven, and Phoenix Raven are basic trained defenders, security forces members that can do security of aircraft and austere locations. You probably know what it is.
I do.
Well, I wanted to do it. So I'm a young airman. I want to go. And it's like my LT is like, hey, we've had like 3 people fail. We want you to go out for this. I play all the sports. I'm an athlete. So she's like, I need you at 7 a.m. on a Saturday to come do a PT test. Well, I'm off Friday night. So what does every good young whippersnapper at 23 do? Well,
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So around 3, 4 in the morning, when I decided I needed to get an hour of sleep before my PT test, I come in, I knock out the run, I knock out the sit-ups. I do like 17 push-ups. I never worked out. Like, I didn't work out. I played sports. I was like, why work out? I don't need to do that. Why should I like go to the gym and work out? I can do all this stuff that they want me to do. And it was like the first thing I think I failed at. Now I failed at school. That's why I joined the military, different story. But in my mind, I was like, dude, I'm not ready. And so fast forward a couple years later, I had like 3 weeks, by the way, to get to 50 push-ups, which I did. I had to do, they made me go outside the unit and do the push-ups the day before I left. So I'm in the front of the unit doing push-ups. So like, if you don't do 50, you're not going. Fast forward a couple years later, I go to airborne school. I come back, and the day I get back, it's my first day in the unit. They're like, hey, we don't have anybody go to sniper school. Who can go? And I'm like, I just did 3 weeks of betting. Why not? I'll do it.
Yeah.
And next day I'm training. I'm going to sniper school. So I think like there's too many times people are like, I'm not ready. I can't do this. Like, I'm not good enough. And I've just always felt like, no, I'm going to stay ready. And I'm going to be ready for anything they throw at me. And I don't care what it is.
No, was it the first failure that made you like that? Because as a student athlete, you were probably ready for something different. Did it open your aperture, or was it something new?
No, I think as a kid, I never my real dad is Cuban. Came over from last time I talked to my real dad was 9/11. So 9/11 happens. Somehow my sister gets a hold of my dad. He finds, I haven't talked to him in like 10 years or maybe not 10 years, maybe like a little bit shorter, and called me. And it was like, I was never good enough for my dad, my real dad. Actually, my real name is Enrique Quinones.
But you felt like you weren't good enough?
I never was good enough. I remember throwing baseball with my dad as a kid. And if I missed a throw, he would throw his glove down and wouldn't throw with me anymore.
Really?
Like, that was it. If you can't be perfect, we're not doing this. And it was always like, I could never make a mistake. And then my stepdad came along. My stepdad was actually scarier than my real dad.
In stature, or
stature, like he was like 6'3", 350. He was a big guy. I called him Big John. His name. But he was a teddy bear. So he was hard. He was big. He was scary. But he was nourishing. Like not nourishing, but very loving person. Like found time for me, would help me. So I think those mixes kind of helped me as a kid. Like, one, you're not good enough. And then 2, it's okay. You can be all right. So I always had this mentality as I joined the military that I'm going to give first place effort, but I'm okay if I don't win. But don't fucking come talk to me when I lose, because I'm gonna be upset. But so I always wanted to win, but I wasn't really upset when I didn't. And then the other thing that helped me was my little brother, 2 years younger than me, was 6'5", 350 pounds. So we were so competitive growing up. Like, so competitive growing up. And
in sports or
everything,
just everything?
Everything. I mean, we had if we were playing with our G.I. Joes, mine are going to look better than his, or like, it didn't matter. We talked so much shit to each other. Like, we were just so hard on each other. But man, it hardened me. Like, nobody was, when I came in the military, nobody was scary. Like, what's scary is, come home with me and let me show you what I have to compete with every day. Like, I laughed when instructors would yell at me, or like basic military instructors would come up and start, like, do you have a smirk on your face, Schaefer? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. Like, I had at home, it was so much harder, So, and then the expectation to be good for my family, like knowing what they expected of me, that always weighed over me. Yeah. And so, I didn't want to let them down, and I just never and I always wanted to prove myself too, that mentality. So I still remember in like high school basketball, being just like, the only white kid out there. My dad, funny story. I was playing basketball. My dad thought this is my stepdad now. He's like, Jay, you're just not tough. And I'm like, tough. So for a whole summer, he would drop me off in the projects at this like basketball court that was on carpet.
On carpet.
A carpeted basketball court. The first week, not one person picked me. Like I would sit in the gym and be the only white kid in the gym, just dribbling a basketball, just like, 15 years old. Like, dude, I can't leave the gym because someone's probably going to beat the shit out of me, And after a week or two, it was like second week, someone finally picked me. And then, by the end of the summer, I just remember like going from the guy that never got picked to being like the first pick on like, I couldn't believe how strong I got in a summer. I came back that my like sophomore year, junior year in high school, dude, I was a beast, man. I was just like, it's just funny the little things people do to you to get you motivated, to grow you.
How did you become that person?
Oh man.
Was it effort that you were putting in? Was there a mental side to it?
That I'll tell you, like, I didn't read the book for a long time, and I just read it a couple years ago. But the book I love was Angela Duckworth Grit, and I think reading that book, it was like self-reflecting. Like I think it is a little bit of that, like effort. Like I've never been the best athlete. I've never been the smartest. I've never been the best looking. I've never been the best at anything. But I always knew I could give more effort than anybody else. And nobody was going to give more effort than me. And in that book, it talks about, effort counts twice. And it talks about the difference between talent and skill and how do you gain achievement, And when I read that book, I was like, dude, this book was meant for me, dude. Did she like watch me growing up? And like, but to answer your question, I think it was, I realized at some point, like I had this family of athletes, everybody had their niche they were really good at. Mine was like, what am I good at? Like, I'm slow. I can't bench a lot. I can't jump really high.
Compared to
everybody else. But then I'm like, oh, but I could give more effort than everybody else.
Yeah.
I can play. And, growing up, my idols were like Dale Murphy and Larry Bird, and so, you think of guys that weren't the best athletes, but no one out hustled them. No one played harder. And so I think effort is the one thing that I always knew that I can give more effort and I can be better than other people. One day of work is better than 5 days of somebody else, right? Like I wanted to be that guy that just gave effort is something I control. And then it's led into my leadership journey where I always like control what you can control. Stop worrying about things you can't control. Stop worrying about what other people say. Stop worrying about what other people do to you. Control what you can control.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. I remember one of the magical times when you were up in front of the thousands of us and you were talking to us and you're like, everybody put your hands in the air. Remember that?
Yeah, I do it every ALS. People get it's funny, like, are you gonna
do
have
it with me? I'll demonstrate it. Yeah, because this is great. This is fantastic.
So it's a great journey of why and effort, right?
Yeah.
So like, you ask people, I do it every time. I usually say, hey, let me see you raise your hands.
Yep.
Raise your hand.
People do this.
Okay, raise it a little higher. God, man, you don't listen. Raise it a little higher.
Yep.
Raise it a little higher.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Do you see how much higher you got? Now, the point of it was you think about like when people raise their hand and it's right here, but they can go all the way to here. Why don't people do this off the bat?
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
Well, one, they don't know why. One, you're asking me to raise your hand. You don't know what the fuck I want. You're like, one, dude, I don't want to get picked. I'm in the back of the room for a reason. But, if you knew your why,
yeah. If
you knew your why as a leader, a person, a young man, a young woman, you're right here.
Yeah.
Your shirt's not too tight. It's your everything about you is just, I don't care what's going to impound me. I'm going to throw it up here, right?
Right.
Now you think about if you know your why, there's also the why people learn, right? Like the why that's given. So there's a great video, by the way. Everybody can Google it. It's you Google the church, like it's like the why of like a church singer or something, or the why. Basically, it's this guy and they ask him to sing like a gospel, and he goes to sing the gospel and it's not that good. And then they're like, hey, sing that again, but I want you to sing it like you're at church on Sunday and everybody's listening. And he sings it again and it's the most amazing gospel you've ever heard. Why did he give that the second time and not the first time? Because he knew his why, like he had got it. So that's the first part of it. And then the second part is you think of effort. Like I I don't think human beings are stock cars, by the way. So I hate when I hear people say, give 100%. Come on, give me 110%. Dude, if I give you a fucking 110%, what am I going to have left for the end of the day? Or what am I going to give my family, right? Like, but what we delve in when you think of leadership, I need you to give me the most you can give me right now. Now, you might have been in bed with a colicky baby all night. Hell, you might have got a call that your dad died this morning.
Yeah.
Your kid might have committed suicide, right? Dude, that's some freaking horrible shit. You're not going to give 100%. But what if you can give me 25%? Mm-hmm. Well, don't give me 20. Don't give me like your arm like this. Give me something a little bit more. And then you think when it equates to effort, if everybody gave just a little bit more, where would you be 6 months from now or a year from now?
Yes.
And so I guess what we, in the business world, the military, life, yourself, like self-disciplined people, can you give a little bit more? Hell, I worked out this morning and I was going to do 20. It was 20 rounds every minute on the minute. And I'm like, dude, I'm retired. I can do 10.
You said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then literally I think on the back, like I had the guy on my shoulder who was just like, you little wuss, you're only going to do 10?
Yeah.
What's 10 more minutes? And that's how many times do you like, oh, I don't have to go one more.
Yeah.
I don't need to do this. Or should I try a little harder? I don't even like the guy I work for. Man, that girl she's not that cute. Why do I need to put effort into her?
Dude,
that might be your wife. Give a little bit more and everything. And so and it's funny. So do you know the story about that? I know which one you're talking about when I started that whole speech.
No, I don't.
So
tell me the story.
I meet Ox, the boss, and
commanding general, guys.
Commanding our boss.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me. He's like, hey, I'd like you to speak at this. And we had this long discussion because I didn't think I should speak. I'm like, you're the boss, you speak. I'm the number 2. I don't want to speak. Yeah. He's like, well, what if I want you to speak? And I'm like, well, great. Okay, fine. I'll speak with you. Well, and then he goes, hey, what are you going to talk about? I'm like, what's every good leader talk about? I'm going to talk about China. I'm going to talk about being a good leader.
No.
And I'm going to talk about like family. So it was like these 3. And he's like, all right, those are good. I'm like, what are you going to talk about? He's like, I'll figure it out. So we go in there and you remember ALS.
Yep.
Dude, it was amazing. Everybody's cheering. Everybody's motivated. I literally make that up on the spot.
That's good.
Made the whole thing up on the spot. Ox turns around and gives the 3 things I talked about. And he's like, well, good thing. I was like, what the hell? You just said my things. He's like, good thing you told me about it. He's like, what did you just do? I go, I don't know, but it was awesome.
It was great.
I've done it every ALS speech.
That's so good.
Same one.
So guys, ALS is Airman Leadership School. And in the Air Force, they start leadership school at the rank of Staff Sergeant. Mm-hmm. So once you figure out your job and you get good at your job and then you test at the higher part of your job, well, we give you an opportunity to teach other people how to do that. And they do that through leadership. So they teach you a lot of things in ALS. And one of them is speech making on the spot. And if you're really good at it, apparently some commanding general will be like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And then takes your stuff that you're going to give because you knock it out of the park.
We laugh about it all the time. He's like, remember when I took that stuff you were going to say? And he's like, do you still give the hand? So the last Airman Leadership School, I retired, and they had one right after I retired. The guy that gave the speech actually gave some of my speech. He's like, we can't forget Chief Schaefer, because of that speech.
Yeah.
But, it sucks. I don't know if I'm going to get to say that one anymore. So thanks for asking me about it.
Yeah, I think you'll get. So what I found is we do a good job at leadership building. Like the military is a leadership machine. But people in the civilian world, they don't understand the leadership aspects. Need to start early. Mm-hmm. So I get the question all the time, how does your leadership, because I was number 1 bestseller in leadership, number 1 bestseller in business, and I haven't been in business. I have an MBA, but I haven't been in business. I've been in the military.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, they're like, can you do a speech on leadership? I'm like, yeah, I'm a number 1 bestseller in leadership. And they're like, well, how does your military experience transfer to my business stuff? And I'm like, dude, you got it twisted. Yeah. People are people. It doesn't matter where they're at. It doesn't matter what they're doing. You're going to lead them or you're not. And you have to be worthy of leading. You have to know what your direction is. And you need to know why you're doing it. But you don't get to do all that stuff without the full circle of what I put on a TED stage. But yeah.
I love it. And your book was great, by the way.
Thank you.
And I love we got to give it out to a bunch of senior NCOs. But what's funny is people will ask me like, that won't work in the real world. And I'm like, the real world? What real world? What realer world is the military? Like, yeah. And it's, nothing against officers. And I actually said something in my retirement.
I have stuff against officers. Well, so we can talk about that.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I said something though. I said this, and you've heard this, is they'll say, we have the best non-commissioned officer corps in the world. Like our NCO corps is what sets us apart from every military in the world. And I go, whoa.
It's people.
And it's people, but I actually set this up. I give officers a little plug. What sets us apart is we have leaders that believe in NCOs. You know, if you didn't have an officer how many officers you work for that didn't believe in their NCOs, and what that unit feel like?
Well, I can count them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They stand out because there's not too many of them.
There's not too many of them. But if we didn't have the officers that believe in the NCO Corps, we wouldn't have the NCO Corps that we have. And everybody out there, I don't care what you say, we have what helps us get to the second and third order effect is we have an officer corps that believes in the NCO Corps. Any other military world doesn't. And then, you know, when you go back to the people thing that pisses me off as a chief, I actually have no authority. I've been a chief. I made chief in 2017, so retired in 2015 for 8 years. Before that, senior NCO. You know, think of all the positions you've been in your career, just like you. There's always someone that outranks you, but I've never had a position where people like reported to me. I was the guy that helped the officer that they reported to. I could have literally. Oh, by the way, every rank I had, I was the youngest person. I was the youngest tech. I was the youngest master sergeant. I was the youngest senior, youngest chief, youngest command chief. Go through it.
That's called winning.
But I like it. Boom. But I could have went into like, hey, because of who I am, you have to listen to me. And I said this, it was someone right before I retired, I get asked this question like, well, how is it going to translate when you leave, or how did you do it? And I go, the difference is I've actually worked for people my whole career. I've never thought they worked for me. And I always thought I had to do, when I was a supervisor, a leader, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help the people with me or below me or to my left and right. They're not going to do everything to help me.
Yeah.
And I think there's this point in leadership where, you know, it's not about you. And that's an easy thing to say, but it's not do as I say. It's, hey, help that person understand why we need to do this. Make them believe what they want to do is what, and then it ends up, a lot of times it's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So you could start off saying, hey, this is what you're going to do. Or you could try to make them figure out why they need to do it, because they're going to give you a lot more effort. And we do it always backwards. We're like, hey, this is what you need to do. And I've never been that way. And I think that's just F that. You can do that in any walk of life. You know?
Yeah, man. So my book is really simple. Yeah. It's decision making. Yeah. And it's, you got to put people first, but everyone does it backwards. They say, how much is it going to cost for this problem to go away? Yeah. How long do I have to live with this problem? And then who can fix it? And when you flip the script, like what we've done, which is why you were the youngest in every rank, which is why you were working where you were multiple times, you know, for the people with these big missions. I mean, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is where cradle to grave, everything happens in the Air Force and across the Joint Force. So there's billions of dollars being spent, and you were assigned to that mission to make sure that it ran smoothly. Just like we're all assigned to a mission, officer or not. But, you know, I'm a Mustang. So I started off taking out the trash and clipping the grass. And people always looked at me different because of that. And there's bad Mustangs. There's bad Mustang officers. Mustangs are the ones that started off at the lowest rank and then became officers. And then they don't necessarily always rise to the highest ranks. But there is an understanding there that they're supposed to be better. But I've worked with Mustangs that are not that good. Yeah. And it goes back to what you're saying, man. You gotta flip the script.
I love you said that, though, that take out the trash. Like that mantra
doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't. But you know what? Like, think of it like, you know, we talk leadership all the time, but the difference between a leader and a follower, like you got to be a follower to be a leader. What I'm getting at is that they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And how can you be a leader if you're not, to the people follow you, if you're not willing to help them follow or show them what following looks like? Like, take out the trash. Yeah. Like, I could tell you a story in Afghanistan. I'm in Afghanistan. I'm a defender, security forces member. I'm working with special forces, which we both have done. And I'm in some pretty hot, volatile spots. And basically, I'm like giving out ID cards. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I didn't effing come to
give out ID cards.
Afghanistan to hand out freaking line badges for the flight line. You know, I'm like, this sucks. Well, why are we doing that? Because every guy that was there before me thought they were better than the position they were in. So they were like, hey, dude, you know, this master sergeant before me, hey, I should be doing this. And you get that mantra where, and I think the crazy thing I love about special forces is that it was always about like, do whatever the team needs. Didn't matter what your assignment was. This is that whole airman or mission ready airman concept. They got to figure it out in AFSA. Yeah. So I start like going out to the helos and taking the trash out. I'm like, I'm going to figure out a mission that can go on. When the safety guy can go to more sites than the defender, the security guy,
which happens.
Which happens. Yeah. And I got a safety guy that taught me that. He's like, Jay, if you want to go somewhere in Afghanistan, just make sure you can go with me. And I'm like, wait, shouldn't you be going with me? Yeah. No. I get to go everywhere. But I started taking the trash, and I remember the Army staff sergeant comes out, and he's like, "Hey, dude, who the F are you?" I'm like, "Oh, Jason Schaefer, force protection."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What? No. What the F are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Hey, I'm helping you guys out. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm supposed to be doing force protection, not really working out. I'm just trying to help the team." He's like, "Well, if you want to help me out, I need you to do this." And I'm like, "Well, shit, I just put my money where my mouth is because I don't know how to do that part."
Yeah. But you figured
it out. Within the day, I got all that. I basically got a bunch of barriers moved. I'm walking in classified areas. They're like,
that's right.
I'm like, ends up, I get to a place. They're like, "Hey, do you have a badge for this area?" I'm like, "No, the door was open." I walked in, They take me to the security guy. I know the guy. We were airmen together 15 years ago.
Isn't that nuts?
So he's like, "Jay, what do you need?" "I need some barriers moved." He's like, "Yeah, let's go." And the Army guys, they thought I was golden.
Yep.
And it's just, are you willing to take the trash out? And it's that simpler. And I guess and I'm not saying I'm one of those leaders where like, we got to be willing to do what your guys do. Well, there's some shit that I don't need to do anymore, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to forget what it takes to do that. And so as a leader, like, are you willing to understand where your people are? Are you willing to do the most minuscule task? And if you are, guess what? People are going to follow you.
Yeah. I love that box you just opened up. Let's dive in. Yeah. Because what you just said was, instead of waiting for someone to tell you what to do, you need to figure it out on your own. And if you're not able to do that, you're not going to do anything that you want to do.
Oh my God. How many problems did someone come up to you and ask you for an answer? And you're like, "Are you effing kidding me right now?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a 2-second figure out. Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is like the questions, the amount. There's a book, have you heard about the monkey manager?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, the 1 minute manager. And it's like, how many monkeys do people throw in? There's this leadership journey where you got like 3 things you're going to work on today. And you keep, I have an open door policy. Like, anybody that wants to come to my office and like, by 9 o'clock in the morning, you've got 50 monkeys because you have an open door policy and you haven't done shit you're supposed to do, right?
Right.
And so how do you make those monkeys go back to people that need to figure it out?
Mm-hmm.
And now a lot of times in leadership, that looks like you don't care about people. Like, "Oh, you don't do anything for me." But what's crazy is when your team grows and they figure out how to do the little shit.
Yeah.
You're doing strategic level thinking. You're now opening up bandwidth to do. You're not putting out fires. You're taking care of actual problems. And your team actually likes you more. They're like, "Oh shit, like I really like working here." But Schaefer, man, he's mean. Like they don't like you. But they're like, "Damn, I like working here." And I think we just want to fix everybody's problems. That's not what leadership is.
It isn't.
It like, you need to figure out how to fix some of your own shit.
Yeah.
But let's fix this stuff together. Let's work as a team. And so there is a really, I've used the word already, I can't use it again, dichotomy of this, like God, we got to figure out how to make people figure out that they can do a lot of the problems. All these problems they think they have, they don't. Figure it out.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Dichotomy is the name of a book called The Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko and Leif. Those two also wrote a book that folds rightly into that accountability piece. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine works at Shields, and they hire Jocko and his team to come out and talk about leadership quite frequently. And he's like, "Do you know Jocko?" I'm like, "I don't know him, but I know it costs $100,000 for him to show up because we asked for him to come to Luke."
To come out of Luke.
Yeah. But the whole thing is empowerment. Yeah. So how did you empower people to be the experts that you knew that they would be if you just gave them the power to do that?
The biggest thing we're so worried about not failing and as a military, we're so worried about getting it perfect. F that. I want it. I want it to be 51%. Now at Luke we say 56%, right?
Yeah, 56.
I want it.
So the wing is the 56th. That's why it's 56%.
So everything's 56.
It's 56 everything.
But I want it just past where it's not going to fail. I want it to get there. And so, man, this was like, as a young master sergeant, this was like a very big thing where people were like, they always want it to be them and they want to look so good and they want to be, we got to be perfect. And they spend 10 weeks planning. I'm like, F that. Like, I'm not going to be the guy that spends 80% planning and 20% doing. I want to spend like 10% planning and 90% doing. Because we learn doing.
Yes.
And I'd rather start out with a 56% problem or 56% right and then get to 100 or 95 than go to like 85 or 75 and it never moves after that.
Right.
Because it's as good as you're going to get because you spent so much time working on it, you're never going to get better.
Right.
And I've always and then I think the piece of that is I want people to learn on their own.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one that tells them all the answers. So I'm really big on, now this is me. Like when my boss would tell me to do something, like, don't tell me anything else. if you're going to tell me anything else, do it yourself. Like give me the intent.
Tell me what you need.
Tell me what's the intent
needs to be done. Yeah.
And when's it need to be done? Like, give me that and don't tell me anything else, because I'm going to go execute. And I try to do the same as leadership. Like, I don't try to give everybody everything. I want them, like, man, dude, I had this guy before I retired came up to me and he was like, Chief, thank you. I never in a million years thought I would be leading Mission Ready Airman program as a maintainer.
That's awesome.
But he goes, you don't get in my way. You just let me go. And then whenever I get a little bit off course, it's like a good slap to be like, hey, bro, back here. Yeah. I used to use this analogy. I'm like the bubble gum theory. When you blow your bubble gum?
Yeah.
And like, you get some random dude like Atlas in a beard and his spiky beard pops your bubble. You're like, all right, don't blow it this way. Blow it this way. That's how I wanted to look at life, is I'm going to blow my bubble and I'm going to blow it as big as I can. And the minute someone pops in, well, I'm going to blow this way. And then that's how I like navigate leadership in life. Like, stop thinking it's got to be perfect. It's okay if it pops. It's okay if it doesn't grow. You know what? You're going to learn. Yeah. But so many people here's a great example. You've been to leadership courses.
Yeah, I've been a long time. I've been in ALS.
Did you read the books? Did you read them?
So I read one of them in ALS, Who Moved My Cheese. That was the first book I kind of read.
Yeah, like I
didn't read the whole thing. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
I read
I'd skim it. I would read. I wouldn't read. I would skim highlights, and we'd be in the class, and there would be. I remember the instructor would ask something, and half the time I'd get it right, half the time I'd get it wrong, and then we'd get to there. And I remember someone in the class going, Jay, dude, what do you do at night? Do you sit around and read everything? I'm like, no, I don't fucking read any of this. Yeah. He's like, you don't read anything? He goes, how do you get these answers right? I go, I just look at what I've done in my career. Like, I think back, like, hey, if I was in this position at X, how would I answer this? Yeah. Too many people look at the book smart way, and they're like, what's the book say? What's the book do? Hey, last time I checked, the book doesn't lead. You lead. What would you do with what you've learned in this book? And I've always tried to equate that, like, and then test it. Go test that leadership. Yeah. And so back to your point about empowerment, and like, I think it's just, how do you give people as many opportunities to fail and learn on the job, rather than think we're going to do this in an office building or in a boardroom? And I think, and what's happening in the military, what's happening in life is, we want to get to perfect so much that we actually don't grow as organizations. We don't grow as people. And so let your organizations fail. And I know that's a hard thing in business, because, at the end of the day, you don't want, when you fail, you're losing money. But there is ways to make sure we are moving the ball forward, increasing our revenue, but also at the same time growing our people. And that's strategic leadership, so.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I'm going to dig in just a little bit more. So you made your ranks early, and I was the number one in most of the places that I was, and it was because I found my place. I found out who I was in the position. So in the Green Beret Special Forces community, there's 18 Echoes. That's a communications Green Beret, right? He's the best communicator that they have, but they make fun of him because he's the communicator, right? So, but he found there's a role there, right? And every Special Forces 8-man team has their own roles, from explosives to communications. What I found in the Air Force, especially the Air Force that we were in, was that all those roles that were identified for the Army over hundreds of years weren't identified for us. Yeah. And I'm never going to be a fighter pilot. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to try to be. Like, where do I fit in? So the best story I got was at JSOC. And when they set us all down and they said, welcome to Joint Special Operations Command, I would like to tell you that you're a valuable part of the team. And we don't just mean that. In this briefing, we mean that the whole time you're here. So always look for an opportunity to contribute. And they gave us the NASA example. Have you heard of the NASA example? The NASA example looks like this. A guy walks into NASA and there's a guy mopping the floor. And he's like, happily mopping the floor. And he stops the guy. He goes, what do you guys do here? He goes, what do we do here? He goes, yeah. He goes, we put people on the moon. My job is to mop the floor. And then they stop it. And they go, it doesn't matter whether you're mopping the floor or you're an astronaut. What we're doing here at JSOC is whatever our nation needs us to do. And we're going to figure it out. Yeah. And a lot of times it's not going to be the first time we've done anything, and there's not going to be any reference, but you're going to figure out where you fit. That model serves in Special Forces. You referenced that earlier. It serves well. How did you get that into the framework that was, like, how did you bring that? Because you always brought it. We did a couple examples here, but like your influence had to transcend multiple layers, and you did that a certain way. How did you bring that?
Yeah, it's great. this is just one of those like things I think in leadership, like I do think this is a 9/11 problem. Like after 9/11, you know, we all these great shows of like, you know, the snake eater with the beard. You have a good one, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, baseball cap, cool gun, you know, like we're all like the terminalists, you know, Chris Pratt. And I feel like what we forget sometimes is going back to the basics. Like, hey, what are we here to do? And I think in every job, everywhere we go, there's something awesome about that job. And so how do you make people feel that? How do you make people feel that where they're like there's this great thing where like we would talk about bases and, you know, like your favorite base is the one you just left. You know, the base you hate is the base you're at, and the base you can't wait to go to is the next assignment, you know? And you think about all those missions. It doesn't matter where the mission is. Hell, you could be at Herbert Field. You could be at Minot. It doesn't matter. People find ways to hate it. You could be in Germany. And I'm like, I don't know how you hate that.
I don't know either.
But it goes back to, so here's my key, is I think what happens is relationships. And so I don't care if I'm mopping the floor if my team cares about me, if my team is good. And so how do you get to, I always thought it was culture and relationships. Like, hey, I'm going to make sure, and I don't mean to say like, Culture is not motivation. Culture is discipline. Culture is making people work really freaking hard so they love. You know, does anybody like playing for Nick Saban? No. But do they all love Nick Saban? Yes, because why? You make them better. So doesn't matter what the job is. Can you make people better, and can you make them like going to work and like the people they work for? Do I have to like everybody? No, I don't. But I have to respect everybody, and I want to be a good teammate. So I go back to like, I think, you know, where do you make sure like people that if the guy that mops the floor knows that I'm his teammate, the guy that mops the floor knows that I'm going to be there to help him if like we don't mop the whole floor, right? But that person's going to think he's the biggest snake eater on the planet, not because he's carrying a gun and he's the tip of the spear, he's the fighter pilot. You know, coming from Right Pat to Luke, man, dude, Right Pat, you don't have a freaking shiny object on the flight line. Like you just said, we're doing a lot of stuff behind closed doors, you know, the future of acquisitions and equipment and all these future projects, right? It's where all the smart people work. You know, if you're an airman there, you're like, dude, what the hell do I do here? It's not like we can talk about what goes behind those closed doors. Coming to Luke, it's like, dude, this is going to be easy. We got the F-35, but it goes back to, I think sometimes even at Luke, we forget about how important the people are. Right, Pat, the people are the most important thing, and that's all we focus on.
That's very true.
So every base has its thing, and I think it goes back to like, do you like the people you work for? Can you make relationships matter? Can you build a culture where discipline is better than motivation? Because motivation's fake, right? It is. And so
it's fleeting.
How do we, man, I just had this text with someone today about like, dude, don't rah-rah me. Tell me what the hell you want. You know, like I always hate when people are like, dude, you're such a rah-rah guy. I'm not rah-rah. I am a little excited, and I talk really fast, and I'm motivated, and I talk with my hands. But at the end of the day, it's like,
it's genuine. That's
discipline
not
got me there, right? You know, so yeah.
There's a difference there.
Yeah.
Like you can tell when someone's trying to bleed into something that they want. Just get to it, man. But
I
don't have time for this.
I know. I just love that you asked. I love that you asked that question about just brought up, you know, someone sweeping the floor, because I do think it's like, it doesn't matter what job you're in. You could have the coolest job, and the job could be so freaking awesome and make you so much money. But if you don't like the people you work with, you don't like the organization, it's going to suck. And you could have a job that's totally meaningless in the scheme of things. But man, if you like your people and you like the culture, you're going to come every day to do it. Like I guarantee the guy that mops the floor at Alabama probably never wants to give that job up because it's the best job, unless Florida State beats him on Saturday.
Gosh, man.
Then of course, you know, we're going to be good. But
oh my gosh,
probably not going to happen. But I can think big. So
let's jump into Florida State.
Yeah.
Why? I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Why?
This is crazy. So I was actually, I went to school. I was playing basketball. I went to Greensboro College, North Carolina. I went with two guys I went to high school with, so they were going, so I wanted to go there. I actually had some offers to go in Florida, Flagler College. I had a Florida Southern. There was probably some places, D3, NAIA. It wasn't that good. And I'm like, you know what? I got there and I'm playing an effort again, you know. I ended up getting tendonitis in my knee. My knee was just struggling, so I got redshirted. I'm like, dude, I want to transfer. I want to go walk on at a D1 school. So I was going to go to UCF. And my parents were like, nope, it's too close. You can't go there. So I went to Florida State. I had one buddy at Florida State. So I'm like, yeah, why not? I'll go to Florida State. And so I did. I went to Florida State, tried to walk on, didn't make the team, and joined a fraternity.
Yep.
Became really good at
Which fraternity?
Sigma Pi.
Sigma Pi.
So
okay.
I was the social chair.
All right.
And yeah, I think it was fall semester 99. Florida State's ranked number 1. We'd go on to win national title. First team ever went, number 1 in preseason, won it the whole year, or ended up winning it. And I remember my dad stopping me before the year, and he's like, "Jay, dude, your grades suck." He's like, "If you don't get a 3.5 this semester, you're going in the military." And my uncle was an F-16 pilot, actually was stationed at Luke.
Okay.
So I always thought I'd go in the military maybe. I wanted to be a CIA agent. That's what I wanted to do, FBI, CIA. And I took to my dad. I'm like, "Dad, it's fall semester. I'm the social chair of my fraternity. And Florida State's number 1 in football. I'm going to be lucky if I get a 2.5. 2.1 maybe,
Yeah.
I think I got a 2.1 that semester. So I joined the military. Yeah. So I was really good at social chair. We had some great parties. But school wasn't my thing. So yeah, that's how the military happened. So that's Florida State before the military. Yeah.
That's an epic story.
Yeah. Oh, and we could talk about Florida stuff. No, we don't need to talk about Florida State stuff.
No,
Yeah.
so I mean, I went to West Virginia because they were a party school, and I wanted to get away from the military, from transferring from being a staff sergeant to going into being a second lieutenant. And I wanted a couple of years break. Turned out that was a lot longer than I thought it would be. It's just like, man, college is something else. Isn't it?
It's just.
Do you believe college is worth it?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of Charlie Kirk. I'll tell you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there is something to say about people that go through college and get a degree, what they're willing to do to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. I think you can actually equate people that have got a college degree to their level of what they're willing to do better than people that don't have a college degree. Because there's no litmus test to say, hey, now there is something to say about going to school and failing out and what are you willing to try and recover in that your second, chapter. But when it comes to learning, there's plenty of officers and, people I know with college degrees, and you're like, dude, you have no street smarts whatsoever, dude. You literally don't need to travel outside of your state. You're going to get hurt. Those. So I think there is something to say about back in the day we had entrepreneurships, you would go do an entrepreneurship somewhere. Now we expect people to come right in and be able to be the best. I still remember in LT, the first thing I ever said to him when he came in to talk to me was like, "Hey chief, I'm here to learn about leadership." And I'm like, "You want to fucking learn about leadership? Stop talking to a chief and go talk to the senior airman on flight and watch what we do and stop worrying about leading. You need to learn how to lead." And he was like, "Well, I mean, what do you mean I need to learn how to lead? You don't know shit, sir. You're book smart. You're not street smart." And I think, too many guys just don't understand how important being street smart is sometimes, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, I meet a lot of those people everywhere, not just in the military.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they know how to lead. I met one guy who was like, I've been leading since I was 8. And I'm like, "What do you mean?" "Well, when I used to go to church, the person that would teach the Bible would put me in charge while they went to the restroom." I'm like, "That's not leading. That's not even close, man. What are you talking about?"
It was some good empowerment.
Yeah. That's not. What are we talking about here? So, no, it's interesting because as you start to unfold all of that, you realize that everyone thinks they know what leadership is. And I used to do leadership seminars until I realized everyone's got a different version of what that looks like. And it's the version that fits them, whatever their narrative is.
And what's crazy about that is that I think you need to learn about, so what's great about my career is I never was in charge. So I need to know who I am. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many chiefs I know that I go, "Hey, what's your leadership philosophy?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "No, what is your leadership philosophy? Who are you? I like to say I'm grounded in faith, God, family, country, GFC, but I'm committed to living resiliently and courageously." Now, that took me a second to get that out, right? Damn, I haven't said it in 2 months. But what I think's funny, what's interesting about leadership is you need to know who you are, but your people are always going to be different.
Yeah.
And I think when people will try to tell you, "Hey, this is how you lead. This is how you do that." And I'm like, "Oh, is it? Let's go get a bunch of snake eaters and see if that works on them." No. But then I could say, "Hey, you want to go to church and lead the church group? You better leave that snake eater stuff at the door," right? I think leadership sometimes is "Hey, dude, you can ask me how I'm going to lead an organization, but I can't tell you until I meet the people." Command chief, when I was getting interviewed, "Oh, what kind of leader are you going to be?" And I'm like, you want me to tell you how I'm going to lead before I meet the people we're going to lead? Like, damn, you don't know a lot about leadership, right? Like, am I ready to take on an action? Am I courageous? Am I resilient? Am I willing to learn?
Yeah.
Those are kind of attributes I like a lot more when it comes to leadership than people that tell me how they're going to lead or how they are, because as a chief, it's not about me. It's about the team and it's about the commander. But I'll tell you this, when my commander gives me intent, there's nobody out there that's going to get it done better, because I understand I need to translate that to the team. And so I think sometimes we get it mixed up a lot, you know?
I think we get it mixed up a lot. So I'm going to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
And the question I asked was like, do you think college is worth it? And let me just give you my response.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm coming with 4 degrees. So every one of those degrees taught me that I needed a bigger network. And one of my friends posted, he did a magazine article for one of our previous commanders. And on the magazine article, the cover of the magazine, it has his mantra, which is contacts equate to contracts. And I'm like, that's pretty true, man, because you don't know until you meet the people that you're going to work for or work with what's going to go on. So I don't think that there's a formal institution that teaches that. I think there's an experience level that you have to meet before you can even fathom what you're going to do. And then I think that experience speaks volumes over anyone who has a degree.
Oh, yeah. I'll take a tech sergeant, staff sergeant in the military over a 4-year graduate at a college, you know, technical expert.
Yeah.
Already been through leadership, already lived on his own, already been through adversity, you know, like all the skill sets that they've done 4 to 6 years in the military.
Yes.
So much more than a college student. But I just think that there's a happy median. I think there is some there's some valuable tools and things that we teach in college, but I also think there's a lot of stuff that is unnecessary. You know, 2-year degrees, you know, like I just, if you ask me like, would I read like what I do today if it wasn't for college? I don't know. I go back and forth. You know, I think
you would.
I think there's plenty of things I've learned in the military that college never taught me.
Yeah.
That when I deal with officers, sometimes I'm like, dude, what the hell, you know? But I think what young people need to realize is that college, just because you're exactly right. Like think about it right now when you retired. I don't know how many people, like chiefs people that are retiring, and ask them, okay, where's your network? Like, who are the people? Like, if you have to walk in an office and give a resume every time and try to tell your story, you're already behind. Like, where's your network of people that will tell you, hey, here's some things that are out there? Like, that happens because you've learned, you grow, you meet people. But back to the young people in the world, I think, where is your crucible? Where are you going to grow as a human?
Yeah.
College, if you pick that first just because you think you have to, no, it might be you need to go to the military and learn what service is. You might need to go in the Peace Corps. You might need to do this. Like, we just don't teach young people enough about like, what is your way to grow yourself and where do you want to be in 4, 6, 10 years, right? Now that's a hard lesson. If they asked me and you when we were 18, like, where do we want to be in 4 or 6 years? I'd be like, oh shit,
I think that there's something to be said about where we grew up and where kids are growing up now. Because if you would ask me that question, my dad would have been like, well, he likes these things. Yeah. And we'll have a conversation. And I'd be able to sit down with my dad. Well, I was adopted, you know, so I don't know my real dad. But my adopted dad cared for me. Yeah. And he used to give me some hard truths. And one of them was, dude, you probably need to go in the Air Force. Yeah. You know, I wanted to go in the Army. I wanted to go be in Special Forces. So I don't think the kids nowadays get that much time with their parents, and maybe that's something to be said. I don't know. I'm just speaking from my personal experience.
It's just hard. You know, I think we always want to think like, I'm going to join this thing and it's going to, when you joined, I didn't think I was going to be in 25 years.
There's no way, dude.
I was going to be in 4 or 6 years and get the hell out and go do something else. And the fact I stayed was because of the people and the belief and the why got answered. And I believed in service. I was committed to the profession of arms. But it didn't start out that way. And I think are young people willing to know that what you decide today doesn't have to be the thing you're going to do forever. Go find your why and then build off of that, right? And so,
So, I mean, Did you watch my TED Talk?
I did.
So I flipped the why.
Mm-hmm.
When most people are looking for a why, you need to find out who you are before you can get to the why.
Back to the leadership philosophy. Like, who are you?
Yeah, lead yourself first.
Yeah.
So what I noticed is whenever people started to discover who they were, they were able to comprehend who they were in their own life. Yeah. And then they would find the why that they were looking for.
I love it, because you're never going to be able to give the max effort until you find something that really makes your why stand out, makes you go, this is what I want to do, and then the things you can accomplish when you're that committed to something, oh my God, the sky's the limit. But so many people, like, they're half-ass in, they're one step in. Well, my dad wants me to do this, or I feel like I should do this for my girlfriend, or hey, I need to go to this school because I really like this girl, or I really like this team. And it's like, dude, come on, man. That's not going to get you to where you need to be, your maximum potential, And so, I love that. I love that. What is your why? Like, dude, sit down. Yeah. And it can change.
Yeah.
But man, dude, if you don't get off on the right vector, like, what do you believe in right now? Who are you? You're already behind.
Right.
And I always like to equate, like, life should be like, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like, guess what? You're still falling forward. Like, how do I make sure in life I'm falling forward, no matter what adversity you hit, whether it's family obstacles, life obstacles, job obstacles? Are you falling forward? Are you moving forward?
Yeah.
So
I just had Ezra Elliott on the show, and he was talking about starting his wrestling journey at like 10 in Iowa. Or Illinois, it was Illinois, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He started late for his environment. And so he felt behind and he felt that pressure. And what I'm hearing is you felt that pressure too as a child from your dad. Is that something that you think forged your ability to think the way you are now? Like, I'm just going to overcome it. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah, maybe a little. I think it started with my dad. I think, another thing is like when my parents divorced, my stepdad comes into life, 3 girls. My mom had 2 boys and a girl, huge family, asking mom and dad for help all the time was hard, So I just, at some point I realized that I can do this on my own, or I can figure this out on my own, or, I'm suck at asking for help. I absolutely suck at asking for help.
Because you feel like, you can do it all.
Yeah.
I think that's built into you.
Why I need to be able to figure this out. Like, asking for help to me is almost like you're a wimp and you can't figure it out. Now if it's like change my brakes, I'm okay with asking for help for that shit, and I think it did start young. Like, I can do this, or even my dad was hard on me. Like, dude, what do you mean you can't figure this out? Like, what do you mean you don't know how to do this? So it did start young, and then it grew. And then in the military, of course, I didn't want to be the guy that was always going to the leader and like sucking up and like, how do you do that? I wanted to be the guy that was like, oh, this is what I did. Even if they told me it was wrong. Mm-hmm. Well, at least I tried, I did something. So, yeah.
I get it, man. Well, that's good. All right. Do you have a favorite quote?
I have a couple. You asked, let me see. The first one is,
the first one
I'll say is, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. And I love that quote. So many times we think excellence is moments in time, and I think excellence is an act. Like, it's the ability to work really freaking hard and give like best effort all the time. Yeah. And I like the people that can do it as a habit, not an act. Like, there's these one-hit wonders. I used to love like when we do sprints, and you do like the 10 100-meter sprints, and you get the one dude that freaking runs one, like the second one, he goes all in and wins. And then that mother freaker ain't even like the top 10 the rest of the time. And you're like, oh, dude, get out of here, bro. Who can be number 2, number 3 every time? Yeah. Like, who can give consistency? Simon Sinek talks about consistency. And I've always been like, I think consistency is so important. Yeah. And so I love that Aristotle quote. That's good. I went this whole time and didn't hit the mic once.
That was good. You hit it good, though.
Yeah, it came right at me. At least I didn't catch it, the wrong way. That would have sucked. So, film. But let me see. What's another great quote? It's not about telling people what they need to hear. It's about telling people. It's not about telling people what they want to hear. It's about telling people what they need to hear. Leadership is about. Are you willing to stand when you ask somebody hello? If you ask someone hello, are you willing to stand and hear the answer? Or do you have to go somewhere else, And you think about in leadership, one of my favorite quotes, I made this one up, never let the mind tell the heart what it can't do. I feel like people that lead with their heart, that work, that are willing to care about people, compassionate, all those things, like you can never let your mind tell you what right looks like.
That's right.
And so like when you leave, don't ever let your mind tell your heart what it can't do. That's been one of mine big ones. So
I like that.
yeah.
Is that whenever you say that, does that mean whatever you feel you can do it?
Yes, 100%. Like if you feel like you can do something, don't ever let your mind tell you can't. If you feel that you can overcome something, never let your mind tell you can't. If you feel like, today is my last day on earth and I have to do something about it, stop. That's your mind telling you don't have a tomorrow. Never let your mind tell your heart what it can't do. You can overcome any adversity. You can overcome any struggle. I've lived it. I know. Like
you've lived it.
Yeah.
Give us an example of a time where you've lived that.
I lost my daughter 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
do you feel comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, I could talk about it. It's tough. It's, I was in Afghanistan when my daughter was born. I was, just like anybody else that we're serving our country, I'll just miss the birth. It'll be all right. Nothing will happen. We're invincible. I think my daughter was probably the first time in my life I realized I wasn't invincible. I think of the struggles that it's had for my wife. I like just her journey since that moment. It's just been so hard. And then, I was in Korea. My daughter was getting better. She was around 3. I could go. I don't even want to go through all the struggles we had for hospital stays. Like, but it's crazy. Like everything that was so hard with my journey with my daughter, it also showed me what people are willing to do for you. I remember one time my daughter was in the hospital for about 4 months, was very sick. I'm in Korea, get sent home because she has an anoxic event, stop breathing. It's going to basically 100% brain damage. And she was in NICU or NICU, and we're getting transferred to Tampa. And they're going to release my daughter to me, and then I'm going to have to drive her, 3 days drive
all the way
to Tampa to basically turn her into another hospital because she's got to get checked in there. It's John Hopkins. Not that the hospital had this, is just hey, we're going to transfer.
Yeah.
Well, this colonel hears this and she's like, Jay, what do you mean you're driving your daughter? Like you're taking her from this hospital to that hospital? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting transferred. That's the only way to do it. 3 days, it's within a couple days, I get a call from this colonel like, no, we found a C-130 medevac and they're going to fly your daughter with your wife to Tampa. I learned, never take no. You got to be a demanding customer for what you believe in. If I feel like this is the best for my daughter, I needed to be there to say that. Or if I feel this is the best way for my son, or I feel this is the best way at work, or I feel this is the best for me, that's your heart speaking, not your mind. Like, well, everybody's telling me you can't do it. Nah, F that. I'm not taking no. And so, and then of course, when we got here, I actually was going to retire.
Were you?
I was going to retire, and we were doing stem cell treatments here for my daughter. And, Phoenix is one of the few places in the country you can actually do stem cell treatments. I actually had to go to Mexico once to do a stem cell treatment.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That was shady. It was actually a good hospital, but it was like, you got to travel outside the country to do medical treatments on a medically fragile kid. Like, thanks country. But I'm like going to retire. And then I find out Luke's on the list. And I'm like, well, I want to put in for Luke. And they're like, well, that's not really how it works. I'm like, well, it works for me.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, Jay, but no, if we take you off all the slates for interviews and you only interview at Luke and you don't get the job, you're going to have to retire. And I'm like, did you hear any of the words I just said? Like, yeah, that's what I'm willing to do.
Yes.
Be a demanding customer, right? This is what I want for my family. Well, and then of course, when we got here, that's when we had my daughter passed away. So it was tough, man. It was, we actually did a side-by-side trip up to White Tanks Mountain. And when we got back from the trip, she stopped breathing, and yeah, I mean, it's just, it's hard. And so,
yeah,
I will tell you though, man, the craziest thing about that journey with my daughter is that the things that I dealt with that I never would have as a leader. And you think of where adversity puts you in life or where adversity takes you, there is people that call me for help and I'll help them. And they're like, how the F do you know this? And it's because it happened to me. I can't tell you how many airmen I've ran into at Luke that weren't getting medical supplies. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not getting medical supplies? And then I go down this rabbit hole and find the way to get them help. And they're like, how did you know this, Chief? And I'm like, because this happened to me. You know, the dumb shit TRICARE, medical, or these things they'll do to you.
Yeah.
I still remember Ox coming in one day at work and I'm on the phone for 3 hours trying to get some stuff for my daughter. And he's like, who do I call to freaking help you?
Right.
And I'm like, sir, you can't help me on this. They're gonna, it's just these journeys where you have to deal with it on your own. And it sucked going through it, but it was at least my wife, things she's gotten to help families with, and she never knew. It's just, it's funny how life can throw these horrible things at you. But if you're willing to just not accept it, if you're willing to know that there's a way maybe you could pay it forward. And this isn't like, I'm not going to say woe is me, like my life sucks. Did it suck?
Yeah.
Yes, it was horrible. But I'm not going to let that, dictate where I go.
That's a strong example you just gave us, and I appreciate it. But I know it changed your family, and you guys probably have a lot more empathy.
Mm-hmm.
People can look at you and know that you know. And I know it sucked going through that. I was there, and we all prayed for you, and we were all of our hearts. But it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what we felt whenever you guys were going through that. So it's good that you guys continue to pay that forward. And from all of us who haven't said thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, man. All right. Transferring out of that, what does the future look like for you? And your family. So you talked about this, and you've given us a lot of family examples. But now that you have more family time, and that's become a focus, how are you looking to bring your family more in full circle into your life?
Yeah, after we couldn't travel a lot with Tegan, even though we tried, man. We did so much with her. Yeah. We've done some overseas trips, so that's been good to do some things that we wanted to do with her. I think as a family, we're still learning, we're still growing. Like when you deal with that as a family, like it's just really hard. Everybody is dealing with things, and so losing a child is just hard. But I think that's one of the main reasons I retired. I probably could have done more in the military. Who knows? Maybe I had some opportunities, but the opportunity I wanted to work on was my family. So I think for me going forward, it's like, I want to be the dad. We've never had a home. Like my wife hasn't decorated a house in probably 6 years because she's like, well, we keep moving. I don't know what home we're going to finally live in. I don't know what to put up. So we have our own home now. When we go to the baseball game or football game, when I go to football practice, people know us. It's not or we might have the mother-in-law or an uncle come visit. We've never been that. We've always been the family that goes to a game and nobody knows, wait, who's this family or what, I want to be part of the community.
I love it.
I want to make an impact in this area, so I think that's some things I'm looking at is like, how do we make this community our own? How do we give back to this community? And then how do we make this community better? And so I think that's what we'll do going forward is we'll leave our mark in Buckeye. So I'm now a Buckeye resident. I can't believe I'm a Buckeye resident because I hate the Ohio State Buckeyes. So it's Buckeye, not Buckeyes with an S. So that's good. It makes me feel better. But yeah.
It's number 3 in the nation for growth.
Yeah.
So you guys have a brand new city.
Oh, man.
And you get to be a part of the brand new community.
Yeah. I'm excited.
As it comes out as a brand new a civilian, if you will, retire. What do you think about the word retirement? I hate that word.
It's just crazy. I'm like, I feel like people like, you're too young to retire. I'm like, I know. I'm 47.
Yeah.
And I'm retired.
Yeah.
I got a lot of life left. I got to figure out what I'm going to do next, but I'm not done. Yeah. We're not done.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never done. Not while we're alive. Well, do you have anything you want to say to anyone?
Yeah, No, there. You know what? I will say this. One thing we hadn't talked about is I want to say, like, everywhere I've gotten in my career, everywhere I've gotten, there's always been somebody that like helped me out.
Yeah.
And I never got there alone. So, you know, as I know this is a young audience, you know, and I would say, you said it great earlier when you were like, you know, you don't know where you're going, you know, it can change, but there's probably somebody out there that can help you in that time frame you're at. Man, learn from them and ask them. Like mentorship, like I might have not asked for help, but I picked some people's brains, you know? And so everywhere I went, I had somebody that put a hand on my shoulder and helped me, whether it was good or bad. Learn from those people. You don't know everything. And so I was very fortunate to have a great mentor, like great support system, great, I will say family, maybe not blood family, but family that just believed and helped me. So I don't think you get anywhere alone. Mm. And so find those people that can help you. Find those people that have walked your steps before. It doesn't matter what the F you pick in life, except for if it's AI maybe. But it doesn't matter what you've walked in life. There is someone that's walked that step before you. And be willing to learn from them, be willing to grow, like, because what we don't want as people is people to make the same mistakes. Like I want my son to be one step ahead of me when he starts out. I want the chief that took over for me at Luke to be one step ahead of where I was when I took off. And that only happens if you pay it forward, help people, you know? And so I'm only here because of that. And I'm going to keep doing that. So, yeah.
You brought up AI. So now, let me ask you this. So, you heard Gronk? Have you seen the assistants that are now becoming friends and romantically?
Oh God,
involved?
I heard
Have
about
you seen
this.
that?
Like people like are ChatGPT, like dating ChatGPT.
Yes.
Like, what the heck?
So last year I got invited to TED Atlanta, and I talked about how podcasts were replacing books. And during that was a seminar on relationships with AI, and I was like, God. I'm gonna just sit in here.
This is when I want to slap people in the head.
Right?
Like my dad, if I would have said that, would have hit me so hard in the back of the head. He would have knocked the AI out of my brain.
Right?
Like, come on, man.
So this is where it really got wonky. The lady that was telling us the story and doing the research, she said that for 24 hours they stopped the computer from saying, "I love you," and people killed themselves.
What?
During that 24? Yes. They killed themselves because they were not able to get the reciprocating love from a machine.
But that tells you, like, go back. That tells you why relationships are so important. Like, you know, we sit there. One of the things, this is crazy, but you think of like dorm life, and I look at some of the dorms where we have like single airman dorms, right? You know, go back to when we were airmen. I had a dorm mate. Like I lived on a bunk bed with another guy. You know, like we shared a room. I had to learn how to.
And a bathroom.
I had to learn how to live with somebody and talk to somebody. And, you know, I could have hated the dude. We weren't the best friends, but we had to live with each other, you know? And I think there is something to say about relationships, you know, and growing with people and learning to, maybe it's not all about you. Mm-hmm. Like I've used this example before. One of my favorite movies growing up, my dad used to make me watch this movie. It was 48 Hours.
Yes.
Like Nick Nolte and freaking Eddie Murphy, the two most racist people in the world, black guy and a white guy, had to learn to help each other to get to the end. Dude, you watch that movie, by the way, you do a shot every time they use a cuss word, you're going to be bad. But like, we don't have that anymore.
No, we don't.
Like, it's like, hey, this is how I am. This is how you are. Okay, we can't be friends. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, and you know, it's never like that many things we don't like. And so I don't know. If you don't know how to deal with people, machine is all you got. It's whatever. But ChatGPT, like I've been teaching people about it. Like I had to build a chicken coop, and I put in that ChatGPT, like, hey, I need to build a chicken coops at this side. It like busted out all the freaking directions. Like, hey, here's your Home Depot shopping list. I'm like, well, that just saved me an hour. You know, so there's some useful things. Now I had to review it and make sure it was right. I just can't believe people get to the point where they don't have a relationship where they have to have a machine to be that person, man. Ugh.
So wrapping this all up, I just want to say the number one thing I always get from you, and it's not just energy. I love the energy you bring to everything, but it's making sure that the people around you are taken care of and that you're taking care of those people too. And they always take care of you back. It's just reciprocating, you know, grow where you're planted, keep your good network intact, and just continue to care. I just want to say thank you again for bringing all those things in there. And the machine will never replace us.
Thank God.
But this one-on-one communication, it'll serve hundreds of thousands going out in the future. And if it's a reminder to them that AI is not their girlfriend, if that's the one thing that they pull from this,
man,
or boyfriend,
I would say that's winning, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say that's winning. But I just want to say thanks for coming in and spending some time with us.
Thanks, brother.
I got something for you. It's in true fashion. It's not a coin, since we're not doing the warrior culture anymore, but it's related. This is my patch. That is the Redbeard flag.
Let's go.
It has 3 things on there, all 3 things that we talked about in the course of this discussion. The little blood drops are all the things that we have to forego in order to continue to live and continue to fort through what we're doing in this life. But if there's anyone that I could sit down with and talk about leadership and actually get great answers, it's you. And so I just want to thank you for coming in the studio and spending time with us.
Well, thank you. And by the way, I can't let you give me something. So I did in warrior fashion bring you a pretty bad coin that I don't think I've ever given you. This is my personal coin.
Oh, that's sick, man.
And so with that, brother, thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Guys, this means a lot. This is a Roman.
Yeah. Spartan head.
Spartan. Okay. So Roman legionnaires were the first army to get paid in coins. Yeah. And legend has it that they would get the coins, and then if someone saved their life, they would give their coin to someone else to go across the river Styx and live in Valhalla. That was brought back in the Air Force in World War II when a pilot was shot down behind the lines. They had this little whiskey bottle coin thing that they used to fly with. When he was shot down, the Germans were like, keep something, anything. He's like, I'm going to keep my coin. He escaped, and he held it up to get free passage into the safety of not being a POW. And ever since then, in the Air Force, we've carried coins, and they call them challenge coins because if you don't have yours, you there's punishments.
Yes.
But a coin is only given to someone that you would go to war with. That's the wrap up of that. So I appreciate that. I accept that, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is so cool. Spartan head, guys, for the folks that are listening. It's got not just an airborne. You jumped a little bit more than the 5 normal jumps. You got a star on there.
Jump master, sniper symbol, Raven, GFC, God Family Country, Cinema 2, Without Fear, and then on Isaiah 6-8, which is my favorite Bible verse.
And what does that say?
For God said, "Who shall go for me? And here I am, send me."
Which is a special operations Bible verse, if you don't know.
And the Spartan head, it comes from my favorite book when I was a young airman was 300. And so Gates of Fire, of course, Gates of Fire was the book. And so I read Gates of Fire. I give it to like all my troops. Yeah. And what's crazy, go read the book if you haven't read the book. But I think sometimes you got to read a little of fiction. And Stephen Pressfield wrote the book, and it's a fictional story from somebody else. And so what I loved about that book was that it was, this slave, the point of view from the slave, but it was what he thought of the leaders, of what he thought of the the Spartans. So and so it always made me think about when I was going up in the military is what other people thought of me. Not that I led that way or I cared, but it was the perception of, man, I wonder what people think about how I am or who I am. And that book just always transcended to me, like how this slave could respect these people so much as a slave, but they treated him very well, And so you never know what people think about you. And so if you're not treating them well, of course, they're going to be worse. But I always in my mind, so I love those Pressfield books. Tides of War is another great book when it talks about Alcibiades. Yeah, great book. So, yeah.
Those are all good.
Yeah.
And what people think about you does matter.
Yeah.
If they matter to you.
Yeah.
So, wow, what a good lesson.
Yeah.
So thanks again. This is epic, man. This is gonna hurt me whenever I carry it.
Yeah, you can carry it a certain way, but
see, it looks like that. It looks like I can put my fingers on that and have a nice airplane carrier.
You could throw it at a wall, probably stick.
It'd probably stick. Maybe it has been tried.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, man.
Yeah, no problem, brother.
And to everyone who's out there listening to Targeted, thank you for subscribing and sharing the show. We're a top 10% show because of people like you. Make sure you check out our sponsors, our affiliates. We bring a lot to the show, including discounts if you want anything that's in the warrior culture for your personal home. So until next time, I'm Atlas Aultman. Stay on target.